Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I am your melanated queen and hostess. You can refer to me as LilFoxi if you like. And if you ever want to know how I got that name, it used to be on my license plate when I got my first car, you all. I was in high school back then. And so it kind of just stuck with me because if you look at the characteristics of a fox is smart, they're cunning, and they have a lot of different attributes. So actually, we can look that up right now because I think it's very interesting that I ended up sticking with that name a little bit. But yes, you all, I do go by that name, LilFoxi. So let me just look this up for you right quick. Right now, Heute ist Freitag. Today is the day of love. And if you're familiar with the Orishas, shout out to Oshun and Yemaya. These are goddesses of love. Yemaya is the goddess of the sea and the ocean. Okay? But a fox, you all, symbolizes, let's see here. Here it is, right here. Wisdom, you all. Cunning, like I said. So basically, they're tricksters. But you all, I think that I'm whimsical. I think that I do possess a lot of wisdom. And I know how to manipulate things to go in my favor for my life. So I don't try to trick people. But cunning, I think foxes are clever. And so that is similar to the attributes that I possess. So I have no problem at all calling myself LilFoxi. You all, I've had some people to actually write into me about a few situations, and I wanted to kind of address these topics. So we can get into that as well. But before I begin, I do want to say that Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I want to just give you a little bit of insight and clarity as to how Brown Girls Are Beautiful got started. As you can tell, I'm wearing the Melanated Queen shirt today. And I have a plethora of different things that I have coming out for this spring and summer. So please stay tuned to that. I'm very excited about it. But I am going to read to you from the pamphlet about Brown Girls Are Beautiful. And it says this came into fruition as an idea in 2017. The first pieces for BGAB, Brown Girls Are Beautiful, were created for retail and printed in April 2019. So that just attributes to the fact that I'm a major procrastinator, you all. But if you ever have something, a dream that you wish to pursue, don't wait, just go after it. As soon as possible, because every day that you wake up is a blessing from the universe. And I do like to normally start my days off by giving thanks to the universe. Normally I do that by writing and journaling, and just giving thanks. And it goes a little something like this. I give thanks to the universe. I give thanks to my spiritual warriors. I give thanks to my spiritual ancestors. I give thanks to all those that are working in my divine favor. Thank you. And I just give thanks for having the faculties of all my limbs, having sound judgment, being in my right mind, mental clarity, the activity and the function of my lungs, my health, my strength, my mental acuity. I give thanks for those things that I do not yet have in the physical, but that I have prepared myself to receive in the spiritual realm. And so that would include any type of business that you're working towards, any type of dream or goal. I give thanks to my family, to all my friends, those that truly love me as a person. I give thanks for my inner beauty as well as my outer beauty. I give thanks to all these things that we take for granted: the ability to walk, the ability to see, the ability to have all of my senses, to talk. A lot of people are stuck in the hospital, you all. A lot of people are on bed rest and they don't have visitors. Some people are in nursing homes. So I think sometimes times when we really put things into perspective, we have a lot to be thankful for. I give thanks that I have somewhere to live, that I have reliable transportation. You know, all of these things are so very important and valuable to us that we take for granted every single day, that we can manipulate our hands and use our fingers, that we have food to eat for the nourishment of our bodies. And your body is your temple, you all. So another thing that I do need to get back into is getting into the gym. And when you start doing that, you basically activate your Kundalini energy. And for those of you who may not be aware, I love music. I love to dance. I used to want to be a choreographer and a dancer. And I did, heavily consider that, but I ended up following my other passion, which was writing. So I switched my major a few times. It was music, and I did graduate with a minor in that, and I switched again and graduated with a major. And so you just can never turn away from those things that were innately divinely designed in you to be. And so one of those things was for me to be a writer. I did write this pamphlet for myself, and I write poetry, and I write a few other things. So I might share that with you in this video. I hope you enjoy it. According to BGAB's designer, the pieces from the line are centered around a theme of empowerment, you all. Founder of BGAB states, "I want those who wear our brand to feel a sense of pride. BGAB is about celebrating ourselves. I have always enjoyed fashion and beautiful designs. I created this line to uplift and showcase the uniqueness of our diversity, you all." When asked about her business venture in fashion, she stated, "Entrepreneurship has been a desire of hers for many years." And I said, in quotes, "I look forward to the trajectory of where BGAB will lead us. I hope to have a legacy to pass along throughout my family." And so in any facet of BGAB, I will be expanding this. I look to do some poetry journals. I look to do a lot of other things with BGAB. And I do also have a podcast. And if you all want to check that out, I'm going to put it in the description link below. So BGAB is going to be centered, and it's going to be growing steadfastly in a very steadfast way. And basically, the pamphlet just has the available products, wardrobe pieces, and this is the old one, but I do have an updated pamphlet. Pull this right here, and we'll go over some of that as well. And it has a pricing sheet. So yes, you all, let me read to you the mission statement, okay? It says, "Celebrate yourself." And I strongly believe in that. BGAB's mission statement is to unite and embrace diversity, celebrating differences amongst melanated beauties across the globe. The notable quote in which BGAB endorses is, "We are not winning unless we're all winning." An example of one melanated beauty reaching out to another exemplifies the notion that we do not succeed if we cannot help those around us succeed without eyes of envy and jealousy. And I strongly, wholeheartedly believe in that, you all. A lot of times you'll get people that could help you, and they don't, because they don't want you to succeed where they're going, or they don't want you to surpass them. And I don't feel that people should think that way. It's a very selfish way to think. I also have created, you all, I'm so proud of these. These came out so well. I don't know if you can see it or not, but these right here are some things that I printed out just to hand out because I do printing services as well. If you're interested in these services, you can check out the Instagram. It's it's brown.girls.r.beautiful. And my website is www.bgabclothes.com. I hope you love the website. I worked on it very much. All right, so let's get into some topics. I want to talk about loving and love. I don't really talk about this topic too much, but I felt that it was something necessary since it's been coming up all around me in the recent last few days. And I know a few people that are going through a whole lot when it comes to this. And I just want to let people know that how a person treats you is no reflection of who you are as a person. Okay, I'm going to say that again. How a person treats you is no reflection of how or who you are as a person. You all have been mistreated so many times by so many different people, whether it's relatives, whether it's so-called alleged friends, whether it was neighbors, whether it was people that didn't know me, strangers, people that I thought, was that person and they weren't. So this, when they mistreat you, it only shows their inability to properly nourish your soul. Let this be no reflection of who you are as a person, okay? And I'm saying this wholeheartedly because a lot of people internalize these things and they question themselves and they want to know, well, what's wrong with me? Why did someone do this to me? She used to be my best friend, and it has nothing to do with you. It's what they are or who they are as a person, okay? I also said, fall in love with the one that falls in love with and nurtures your spirit. I wholeheartedly believe that if you find someone and they love your spirit first versus your physical attributes, then it's a greater chance that it is real true love, because a person that loves your spirit and nurtures your spirit would never want to be departed from your spirit, because they love you too much. And so they crave that. They can't get that from energy from anywhere else. They could try to replace you, but they never can. So just know that you are not replaceable. You are very uniquely divine. And I always talk about it. I want to let the ladies know, the queens out there, or goddesses, whatever you want to call yourself, embrace the divine femininity, your feminine divinity. Embrace that. When you are a divine female, you call energies towards you. You don't chase the energies, okay? And you choose, okay, what energy you wish to have around you. So just always know that a lot of times queens, females, goddesses, or empresses, they forget to stay seated on their throne. Never let anyone knock you off your throne. Never let anyone take your crown, dethrone you, anything of that nature. Also, I said, turn your pain into passion. We all go through things, and we all go through disappointments, setbacks, tragic situations in life. Turn those things into passion. And that's exactly what I've been learning to do for the last few years of my life, you all. It's not easy. And these things are sent sometimes to you and you don't know why it's going on, but your life is meant to be an example for others. I strongly believe that. And I strongly believe that if there is something that you can teach another individual, you should share these things so that it makes life a little bit easier for someone else. Also, sharing what you are going through lets you know that you're not the only one going through it. Okay? And I said, true love will never abandon or neglect you. Okay, just remember that. People that truly love your spirit will never neglect or abandon your spirit, because they will be magnetized to you. So just know, sometimes they say that, I hear all these things about rejection is protection and it's a lesson in the whatever. A lot of times that's not what you want to hear, but just know that that's making room. And I know it's so cliche and I hate to even say it, but it sincerely is making room for the person that is going to properly nourish your spirit and your soul so you can grow and flourish like the butterfly, the flower that you are, whatever you want to be. You want to be a balloon floating in hot air land, then do that. Be in the clouds with it. But that person that's really meant to be there won't try to alter or change you. They will try to grow with you. They will try to grow you in a way that's not going to tarnish or damage your spirit. Okay? All right. And so with that being said, I would like to read an excerpt from my upcoming autobiography that I've been working on. So I hope that you all enjoy this. I think it could potentially help some people out there. It may or may not. And hopefully it will. So let's start here, okay? This is a chapter called Heart Under Construction, you all. And I will say that there are a lot of people out here who are going through the same thing. Their heart is still being repaired from so much damage. We come into this world and come into this life thinking that, if you're a good person, if you're a fair-hearted person, if you have a good heart, that you're going to be treated the same, but that's simply not the case. A lot of times people like to push the limits with you just to see how much you'll take. And I just want to say, excuse me, I washed my hair today, so I'm going, with the natural look. So I'm a little frizzy and poofy today. But I'm embracing all these attributes about myself, the hair that flares. Shout out to Audrey Hines. Embracing that I'm a melanated individual, that's always seen as a downfall. Queen, I know that term is very cliche, but you have to act in the way in which you wish to be respected, okay? And so I don't want anyone to think that they need to lower themselves, their self-respect, or their standards, just to be befitting for anyone out there. So just, ladies, like I said, stay on your throne. So the kings and the warriors out there, continue to sit at your throne and let no one tarnish or banish you from your kingdom. Okay? Always know that. And here we go. I'm going to get into it. Heart under construction, you all. The worst thing than being a fool is being a wise fool. What do I mean by this? If a man has a rose but refuses to water it and it shrivels from lack of proper care, whose fault is it? The rose or the man that picked this rose for himself? You see, it is one thing to have a rose in a beautiful glass vase, the same as it is to have a lady in a beautiful house. Yet if that rose is not properly cared for, it soon withers away. The lady can also fall asunder by the wayside. The rose needs sun and water. Yes, every living thing that I know of cannot survive without first oxygen or some form of air, water, or sunlight. And sunlight, actually. This is the core of life. We as humans share the same needs of every other living species here on the planet we call Earth. In fact, I despise snakes so much. But as much as I despise them, I must admit to one thing. We both need food, water, and nourishment. Without that, we die. The truth remains the truth, no matter how much we disagree with it or despise it. It takes someone with common sense to realize this. But then again, sometimes sense is not so common these days. Okay? Let's get into it, y'all. I write this out in this fashion because I am learning more about life as I live through different experiences and challenges. The most challenging ordeal a person can go through is to sit with themselves and face themselves by themselves. I have done this quite a few times, reluctantly and through force. It was the universe teaching me and forcing me to learn who I was, who I am, and who I am to become. And also, you all, it also teaches you who to allow around you as well. All right. The journey never stops. As long as I shall live, I am still simultaneously learning every day. In fact, I do not think that you should ever stop learning about yourself. Pay very close attention to yourself all the time. Again, I refer to that famous African proverb, know thyself. But I say to you all, what does it really mean to, quote unquote, know thyself? Again, it is to sit with oneself and face the ugly truths when you'd rather believe in the beautiful lies. I shall give you an example. You all, this goes into the examples I was giving you about having real people that really care about you versus people that say they care about you, but it's not real, okay? There once was a guy who searched plenty of flower gardens for a specific flower, for he did not want just any flower. He decided he wanted a rose. He did not just want any rose, he wanted a red rose. Why? Because red symbolized love for him. He wanted a rose which looked quite healthy and nourished. He desired for its crimson petals to melt in his hands like velvet as he touched it. He wanted its green stem to stand strong and rich like green emerald. He wanted to keep this rose in a vase of his choice and in the area of his house where he wanted it, even though it was not getting enough sunlight. He only decided to provide fresh water to the rose when he felt it was necessary, even though this particular rose needed fresh water every 3 days. This was to ensure that it had a longer lifespan. He thought he could only get by with tending to the rose in the way he saw fit, although the instructions said something different. He decided he knew best. He glanced over the instructions on how to properly care for the rose and tossed it in the garbage. His rose withered because he refused to set it facing the sunlight. The petals grew brittle and she became unkept. The petals began to fall asunder, one by one, as her hair began to shed strand by strand. The guy blamed the rose. Why are y'all roses so sensitive and hard to keep? He complained. Here goes a waste of money. I'm no longer buying any more of these things. I will just get daisies instead, he thought to himself. They last longer and don't require so much, he blurted out of frustration. All right, you all. Here we go. In the meantime, his brother, who also had a house in the same neighborhood, went to the flower garden. The brother also decided he too wanted a rose. He did not want just any rose. He wanted a piercing red rose. He wanted the petals to also melt like velvet at his touch. He wanted to maintain the emerald green stem to stand strong against any threat. He decided to do things a little differently from his brother. I'm going to give you a name, he told the rose. Most people think it's crazy to talk to plants and flowers, but regardless of what people think, it's about what they actually know. And you can talk to plants, you can talk to flowers. They have feelings. If you didn't know that, they do. I know that they have feeling and they actually have a way to protect themselves when they are in danger. If you didn't know that, look it up. It is very true. All right, so let's get back to the story. All right, so he said, I decided I will call you Red Velvet because you are sweet like the cake, he said as he picked the rose from the garden. He did not just snatch it from the ground and yank it from its roots, but he secured it from the ground with its roots still intact, unlike his brother. He then retrieved some of the dirt from around its surface and placed it inside of a temporary glass container until he could get it home while also adding water to its roots. When he got Red Velvet home, he immediately planted it in the ground because he knows that time is of the essence. He wanted the rose to extract as much nourishment from the soil as possible, soaking in the nutrients as he planted. He continued to mix in the original soil with the newly planted soil as he added water atop the surface. He continued to talk to Red Velvet, affirming to Red Velvet how beautiful she was. You are doing great today. Look at you growing and glowing, he proclaimed. Every day, for an entire week, he went out to water Red Velvet, and on the 7th day, the rose started to bud. He could see the formation of undeveloped buds. My, look at how you're growing. Over time, the buds continued to bloom, and he had a fully spread rose garden complementing his yard. One day, Kyle's brother drove past his house while Kyle was standing outside. I don't know how you do it, he said to Kyle. I tried to keep a rose, and I can't keep that thing alive longer than about a week before the darn thing starts to withering away. I can tell you one thing, I won't be wasting my time on them little jokers anymore. I went and got me some daisies. To this, Kyle responded, You have daisies because you can't handle the beauty of a rose. You get aggravated with its thorns, which is for its protection. So many people pick at them, not knowing how to properly care for them because they only admire the feeling of having them, but do not know how to maintain them. You want to hold it captive in a vase. You want to keep it away from the sun. You won't let it grow in its natural element where it thrives. You fail to understand it or nourish it properly so that it can multiply for you 10 times fold. When I picked this rose, it was but a loner, which turned into a rose bush, and it's still budding. Pretty soon, my goal is to have a rose garden, just like the garden from which I picked this one. See, I studied its habitat. I did not yank it from the ground and expect it to grow how I wanted it to grow. I nourished it the way it already was and encouraged it along the way. I spoke to Red Velvet. Yes, I gave her a name. And now look, you on the other hand, my friend, had a diamond, but you rather dig for cubic zirconias. It's all about what you want. Okay? You gotta get the message there. Kyle's brother, who shall remain nameless, in parentheses and quotes I said, because he does not deserve a name, chose to believe a beautiful lie. He believed that if he kept his rose confined within a beautiful glass vase in a beautiful house, it did not matter how he cared for the rose as long as he was caring for it in his own way. He did not seek to know why the rose was withering away and just dismiss the rose as being incapable of living. Kyle, on the other hand, did the opposite. All right. And then in conclusion, I say, ladies, I say to you, consider to wear your crystal slippers, not because you are Cinderella, but because you are meant to be treated like the royalty you are. Any man that cannot, will not, and refuses to take the time to understand what makes you glow is not worth your time. Allow your prince to bring you the slipper that fits your foot, just like the ring that fits your finger. You all, this is an excerpt that was inspired from a chapter in my upcoming autobiography titled Confessions of a Living Legend. And I'm going to stop myself right there. I could go into another story, but, I'm just going to keep it there. And so that is it, you all. You can check out my t-shirt line. It's, again, BGAB Clothes, CLOTHES.com. Instagram, brown.girls.r.beautiful. And like I said, I do t-shirt printing services for you all. I just appreciate, you taking the time to listen to me. I just wanted to do a little something different today. I know normally I talk about the news, what's going on out there in the world. We already know about these things. And I think I've honed in on those topics enough. I want to do something that was a little bit out of the ordinary. And so hopefully you've enjoyed this, okay? I'm going to cut it here. Ich bin hungrig, or mir ist hungrig, however you say it. I am hungry. That's how you say I'm hungry auf Deutsch or in German. And so I have here some water. This is alkaline water. And how do you say water auf Deutsch or in German? Wasser. It's Wasser, you all, but it's pronounced Wasser. And I'm just going to sip. I love alkaline water. And once you start drinking it, it's kind of difficult to go back. I do not drink a lot of different brands of water, but alkaline is the way to go, you all. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Brown girls are beautiful. Stay beautiful. Shout out to all the queens, kings, warriors, the heroines out there. That's the female warrior. I do have a warrior shirt that I am going to be pushing heavy and hard, and it's Wounded Warrior. Okay, that's the name of it. And it's because it's a lot of wounded warriors out there. I, too, am one myself. So thank you. And you all stay blessed until next time, okay?